Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my medium mic. That's right. My name's Emma. I'm here to talk about all the things I love in media. It's one of my favorite subjects, my one of my favorite hobbies. So I'm so excited to be here chatting into the mic alone in my bedroom. So I'm going to just get started because I cannot wait to talk about my subjects today. As always, we're going to begin with music. The first topic on the music category is Jack White. So, for the listeners, if you're not familiar with Jack White, he is a musician. He got his fame from being in the band called the White Stripes with his then wife Meg, who was the drummer, and he was doing guitar and vocals. White Stripes is the band that did Seven Nation Army, which is dun 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 dun. Dun. I'm not gonna sing on this podcast, but that's like the one tune I will utter. It's very iconic, but he's in the White Stripes. He was in the White Stripes, and he has been doing solo music for some reason. There's two things I can think of that got me into my Jack White phase. Number one, earlier this year, I had to analyze Lemonade by Beyonce for my gender and pop culture class. We had to listen to the entire album, watch the music videos that went with it, and pick a song to write an essay on. I, with that being said, he was on a track with Beyonce called Don't Hurt Yourself. And he's not, I don't think he has a whole verse. I think actually he might have a verse, but his vocals are kind of subdued compared to Beyonce's, which is like, I get why, but he's on a Beyonce track. So I first heard that back in like March, and I've been obsessed ever since. It's one of my, if I could hear the song for the first time again, songs. The way he's, the way he sings, Love God Herself. I don't know, with like the really, I can't describe it. But so he's with Lemonade on Lemonade, and then he had a song on Dancing with the Stars this season. I'm sorry, not him. Whitney and Robert did Icky Thump for episode, I forgot what episode, like week 8, week 7, whatever was the week that they did Rock and Roll Hall of Fame tributes, because last Saturday, from what I'm filming, they had the Rock and Roll Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, and Jack White was one of them. So I've just been on my Jack White phase. I don't know. It's just I listen to it at work. I walk around the store getting content, and the music is just so good. I typically listen to like lyrics and melodies, but for some reason I'm like hooked on the guitar part of the songs that he has. Like it's just infectious. It's so good to listen to. I'm excited to listen to it. So I'm on my Jack White phase. I also am including a picture of Jack White in Cold Mountain, which is such a deep cut. It is a Civil War era movie that came out in the early 2000s, I'm pretty sure. I, in high school, was obsessed with the Civil War era. And, like, in the history class, especially when we learned about it, I watched this movie. I don't know if we watched it in class. I don't think we did. We might have. I can't remember. No, I watched it alone. I watched it on my own. And then I recently rewatched it. And he is a character in this movie, but he also sings a lot of the songs on the soundtrack for Cold Mountain. So overall, lifelong Jack White stan. And I don't really know anything about him personally, so don't like if he's like canceled, just don't tell me. I'm just enjoying his music, separate the art from the artist. That's all I'm going to say on the Jack White subject. My next point in my music category is my playlists, because when I sat down to think of the topics for this episode, I haven't been listening to a lot of like specific artists. I've been really delving into my playlists, my monthly playlists. So I have November 2025 that I add songs to. If I hear a song on TikTok I like, I add it to that playlist. Or if I'm watching a movie, I hear a song. Or if I'm just like, I want to hear that song this month, I'm going to put it on the playlist. With that being said, I have monthly playlists since 2019. So January through December 2019, 2020, 2021, and so on. It's like over 70 playlists that I listen to each month. And the really cool part about that is I can just go back in time and say, oh my gosh, what was I listening to August of 2021? I can go back and I can play those songs, and I instantly am back being, how old was I? 19? I can just go back to that moment. I know exactly how I felt. I know what I was doing because of these playlists, because I listened to them for the entirety of the month on repeat. That It's a special little time capsule. One of my favorite things to do is if I'm getting bored of the current year's playlist, I go to, like, say, right now, I can go back to 2024 November and I can listen to songs I listened to a year ago. And it's just so nostalgic. And it's just a fun little thing that I have with myself that's cute and fun. Also, on the topic of nostalgia and playlists, I have one called Songs That Slap Me Back into My 2015 Era. And this specific, like, screenshot of my life, it was fall of 2015 to the early winter spring of 2016. For some reason, that was such a pivotal time in my life. I was 13 years old. Something about the music, something about, I don't know, the vibes, because the music back then, I'm saying back then, that was 10 years ago. That's crazy. The music was so electronic and so catchy. I did listen to a lot of the radio during that time because I was in the car with my mom going back and forth to school. And I had Apple Music at that point, but it was just songs I had to buy. So it was a very limited catalog of music. It was actually iTunes, it wasn't even the Apple Music subscription. But these songs on this playlist are just so angsty. And yesterday I actually put it on when I drove to work and it was cloudy and I'm like, this is the best vibe ever. So I have some of these playlists similar to this where it's just like these snapshots of hyper specific times in my life. So yeah, the 2015 era is kind of fuzzy where we go from like fall of 2015 to spring of 2016. So that has been something that I have been delving into music wise. And guys, I'm being so serious. I'm gonna be very brief with this part of the music category because I can't even form words. Malcolm Todd. Now, I have to admit, I didn't start listening to his music until this year. So I kind of feel like a phony. I kind of feel like, "Ugh, she just started listening to it, but I know people who've been fans longer. So basically what I'm saying is hashtag need that, hashtag love Malcolm Todd. Um, his album that came out this year is every single song is a banger. I'm obsessed with it. I think his art style and his vocality, is that a word? His vocals, his musicality is so addicting to me. And I'm obsessed with every time I hear the songs. I just get so excited. Love Malcolm Todd. But so I can kind of not feel bad about not knowing him as long, I have started listening to his sister, Audrey Hobart. She released her first singles this summer and her full first studio album August 15th. I knew exactly what day it was because I've been obsessed with that album. Who is the clown or who's the clown? Audrey Hobart. They're siblings. I learned that this summer. But this would be my most streamed album of the year, hands down. I looked back at my earbuds and it said I listened to this album for 1,000 minutes, which I don't know what the math is, but I know every single word of every single song. It's one of those albums that I know that I can put on and I'll just enjoy it every single time. I like Audrey because she talks basically, like she's talking in her music and her songs, that you get to know the story. It's a little quick story. It's about, oh, she's at the chateau in Los Angeles and she's noticing this girl walking around and her boyfriend's being a jerk. It's like little mini stories, and I really really like that kind of music where she's not talking but she kind of is. I don't know, it's really fun. So Malcolm Todd and Audrey Hobart, the sibling duo of my 2025, these will live on in my heart forever. I bought his album on vinyl, his newest one, and Audrey's too. So I will have these copies for life. But that is the end of my music segment. Now on to TV. Similar to last episode, I am still watching Dancing with the Stars. Last night was the quarterfinals, and it was the 20th anniversary episode, birthday episode. It was so good. I'm so tired because I stayed up late to watch it. But it's worth it. It's so worth it. The dances are getting really good. I'm enjoying everyone, and I'm glad Andy went home. Spoiler alert, I'm so sorry. Andy went home. It was time because he was being outdanced by miles. The top was they was tied for 40 points for three groups, and Andy had 29. It's like, guys, we had to be so for real. So I'm glad that we voted him out. I will get some hate for this, but I like Whitney Levitt and Mark Ballas. Her dance last night, I wasn't even looking at Mark Ballas. I was looking at Whitney because she was that good. It was pop. I forgot what the song is. It's from Chicago, the musical Chicago. Anyway, the Zochi and Robert relay dance, that was so good, and low key they have chemistry, but I'm not going to get into that just because it's like it doesn't matter. It's TV, it's not real. I don't know who these people are. But That is Dancing with the Stars. Next week is semifinals, and then a week from that is the finale. So there's only 2 more episodes from the time I'm filming. What a really great era of TV that I have really enjoyed watching with my grandma, and it's been great. And then, of course, Stranger Things season 5. We are getting super close to the release of the first part, like almost 2 weeks. Like tomorrow will be 2 weeks for me, which is Thanksgiving. 2 weeks until we get to see season 5. And I'm so excited. I'm mentally preparing for how I'm going to feel afterwards. I'm going to have to like journal and cry and kind of emotionally support myself during that time. So, very excited, but I want to get into my major point of the TV section. I have been watching Yellow Jackets like nobody's business. I'm actually looking at the screen right now. It helps me talk about it, and I spelled yellow wrong, so I fixed that. Don't worry, guys. Um, Yellow Jackets. This has been on my watch list for years. It came out the first season in 2021. So I have been wanting to watch it since. I finally have time. I was in college. I just did not have the energy to sit down and watch this show. Episodes are about an hour each, so it kind of is a lot to take in, but there's only about 10 episodes per season. So it's still 10 hours, you know? So I started watching it the weekend of Halloween, so Hallow weekend. I have been gripped by this show. What I like about it so much is that I'm going to give a brief synopsis and then explain a little bit about the structure of it. But if you don't want to hear about that, if for spoilers or anything, I mean, I don't know. Don't listen. But who knows? Nobody could be listening. And it is just me talking into my microphone. Yellow Jackets essentially is about this all-star soccer team in high school in 1996. They are going to nationals. Excuse me. They're flying to nationals for this soccer tournament. That they're really good soccer players, so it's like a big deal. One of the members of the soccer team lets her parents let her use their private jet to fly across the country, and it ends up crashing. I don't think that's a spoiler. I think that's just like basic knowledge about the show, but the plane crashes in Ottawa forest, like Canada forest. So these girls are stranded with their coach and their other coach's kids. I don't really know, but essentially, yeah, they're stranded. But what's really cool about this show is that it flashes back from the plane crash and then present day. So then you get to see who survived. And that's pretty obvious too, and I don't think that's a spoiler either. That's the whole structure of the show. Like the first episode, it's 1996, and then it's present day. It goes back and forth. So you're like, okay, these are the main people who survived living in the woods, but like, what happened to them in the year and a half that they were stranded? It is such a genius idea. I have really, really enjoyed watching because you know that something is going to happen. They keep alluding to the things you did out there, the things we did out in the woods. It's like, what did you do? You know, so it's just a really captivating premise, and I've really enjoyed the aesthetics and the delivery from all the actors. Sophie Thatcher, she is fantastic. If you're not familiar with her, she's famous from this show. She was in Companion, she was in Heretic. She's just a very, very good actress, and I really enjoy her performances. Everyone else is great too. You know, it's just one of those shows where everyone is great and you have a great time watching. So that has been my current binge on the TV topic. Now on to movies. So I saw Regretting You in the theaters. I went to this theater in De Pere, Wisconsin. It's a really cute one movie theater room. It's basically the ticketing outside. You get your concessions, and it's just one screen. So they only show one movie at a time. At least that's what I'm aware of. And they happen to be showing Regretting You, and the tickets are cheaper than Marcus Cinema. So of course, my friend and I went. You know, I'm regretting this. See what I did there? I knew going into it that I wasn't going to 100% enjoy it. But as a movie lover, you have to watch movies that you don't like because that's just the way it is, I guess. That's the rule I made for myself. But a Colleen Hoover adaptation, I did not have high expectations, and I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. You know, it was Dave Franco, Allison Williams, Mason Thames, and McKenna Grace. These are like people that you see the cast list and you're like, okay, this is going to be good. But when the story and the premise isn't good, it's kind of like, ugh. So, you know, it wasn't for me. People may watch this and go, this is exactly what I like watching. And that's great. That's fantastic. That's just not my typical genre or genres that I like. So Definitely an experience. I mean, I watched It Ends With Us. I read the book actually. And it wasn't, I mean, I don't know. These topics just aren't applicable for my life. So, I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. Frankenstein came out last Friday from when I'm filming on November 7th on Netflix. This is also on my watch list for a long time. Knowing Jacob Elordi is playing this creature, Frankenstein's monster, was so intriguing because to me, I grew up, I was the target audience for Kissing Booth and To All the Boys I Loved Before. So seeing Jacob Elordi go from this like teenage rom com sort of immature role, even him in Euphoria, it's kind of typecasted. I feel like bad boy, bully. I don't know. Seeing him go from that to then even Saltburn, which came out almost, oh my God, it came out 2 years ago. That's insane. Saltburn, I feel like to me at least, in my perception of him, was his breakout role. Of course, there's other interpretations of that, so please, that's just my opinion. Seeing him in Saltburn was like, okay, he is taking steps to further his career and not be typecasted. Although it can be argued like his character in Saltburn, but whatever. But seeing him being casted as this creature was so intriguing to me. I watched it with my family. The day it came out, I was so excited. I honestly would have wished it was released on like in theaters around my area. I know in some areas in some states it was released in theaters. I would have loved to watch it in the theaters. It's one of those like grandiose movies that deserve that big screen time, but I did watch it at home on Netflix. But it was so good. I could talk about a lot of the metaphors and the meaning of the movie. I just don't think I don't have the right words right now. I'm not going to speak eloquently or I'm not going to speak in a way that will make me proud in the future, but I will talk about I loved the costuming. If this gets nominated for an Oscar, I really think they could be nominated and potentially win in costumes if Wicked didn't beat them. Mia Goth's character as Elizabeth, her costumes were gorgeous. I was drawn to them. The one, it's the green, it's the bottom picture of her with that green tulle over her face. And then she had like some sort of fuchsia accent underneath with like blue. I was obsessed with the coloring. It was so good. That was something I really enjoyed. Excuse me. And I like how Guillermo del Toro, you can just tell this is his like magnum opus. Was something that he has been working towards in all of his projects to tell this story. And honestly, it's very daunting, I feel like, for directors to take such a classic story and make it your own. I feel like that is a common trait with artists. You're always inspired by other people and their work, but to make it this grand of a movie is I mean, it's daunting. And he did such a great job. It stuck pretty close to the book, I'm pretty sure. I was supposed to read the book for AP literature in high school, but then it was COVID, so I didn't have to read it. But from what I heard, it's really close to the book. And just, the Prometheus, like, analogy that he can never die. And it's just, a beautiful story. You can watch this and you feel something after, which is always a really great feeling that I have after watching. So, Frankenstein was great. My last movie on this topic is Eternity, which isn't released yet as the time I'm filming. It comes out Thanksgiving weekend. But with Marcus Cinema, they do mystery movie, like Monday mystery movies. You get in for $6 and you get to watch an unreleased movie. So you have no idea what it's going to be going into it. They give you the runtime and the rating. And you kind of can predict a little bit. There was 3 options that I thought it was going to be. It was going to be Now You See Me, Now You Don't, because that's coming out this weekend. Rental Family with Brendan Fraser, and this movie. So then when the A24 logo popped up, I knew we were in for a treat. My friend and I were so excited. This premise, the premise of this movie essentially is that after you die, you go to this kind of loading station. It's a train station sort of thing where you have 7 days to pick where you want to spend eternity. And there's different worlds. There's beach world, there's clown world, there's capitalistic world, but you're there for the rest of eternity, which like eternity is infinite. Like it never ends. So that's the sort of the premise. Miles Teller, Elizabeth Olsen, and Callum Turner are the stars, and Miles Teller's character dies first, and he spends his time there, and he's like, well, I could wait for my wife, or I could just go and she'll find me, or what have you. And then the wife ends up dying. It's like, oh my gosh. But come to find out, she was married twice. She had one husband that died in the Korean War, And then her current husband, who was Miles Teller, who died first. So then all of a sudden, Miles Teller's going to his eternity. He sees Joan. Is that her name? Joan? Pretty sure. I watched it 2 days ago. Um, she's dead, and she's going up the escalator, and he's going down. He's like, wait, wait, wait. So they're reunited in this kind of purgatory area, but then she realizes her first husband's there, and he has been waiting for her for 67 years. Are you kidding? So the whole movie kind of goes with who's she gonna spend eternity with and all this stuff. The supporting cast was great. It honestly made me laugh out loud. It was such a good movie. It was only PG-13, so it's a good family movie to go watch during Thanksgiving. The cinematography was so gorgeous. I included a picture of the beach scene. I couldn't get actual screenshots because the movie isn't out yet, but it was just so well done, and I will have to rewatch and just soak in all of the beautiful shots. So Eternity was great. If you have any desire to watch it, it comes out Thanksgiving weekend. I'm like kind of promoting it. I should be sponsored, like for real. Anyway, on to YouTube. I struggled with this topic this week because I'm like, I haven't been watching a lot of stuff. I mean, I just haven't had time. I've been watching movies. But I want to talk about Brittany Broski because I listened to her podcast before I watched Frankenstein because she talked about her experience watching it, and it actually helped me learn about it more before going into it for myself. So she has a podcast, The Broski Report. She has Royal Court, which is like a celebrity talk show, but it's unique in that she has like a set. It's like a royal court medieval time set, and she's a fantastic interviewer. She spends time to get to know the celebrities, all these videos. She's interviewed people from Finn Wolfhard, which was last week. Sophie Thatcher, I added. She's from Yellow Jackets. She's interviewed Charlie XCX. There's so many people that were I'm gobsmacked every time she releases a Royal Court episode, and I'm intrigued every single time. So I've actually been watching Brittany Broski since 2019, like during her kombucha meme blow up. Like I have been watching her since. I'm like, she's hilarious. I resonate with her humor. I like what she has to say a lot of times. I know there's been some times where she's gotten canceled and people don't like the things she says, but I take things that she says with a grain of salt, as I do with everything. I just really enjoy what she has to offer to pop culture. I watch every single podcast. I watch every single video she makes. I'm a huge fan. I even watched every single or listened and watched every single episode of Violating Community Guidelines, a podcast she had with Sarah Schauer. The first episode aired January of 2022 and it ended in December 2022. I was devastated because it was one of my favorite podcasts. But then in 2023, she released Broski Report. So I am just a huge fan. I even bought her muumuu. I'm wearing it right now as I'm talking. It is the most comfortable piece of clothing I own. When she released it in summer 2024, I was like, yeah, add that to my cart. I don't care how expensive it is. I'm buying it. I wear it every single day. So, love Brittany Broski. That's my YouTube section. Books, you guys, I bought a book light. I am going to read. I plan on reading tonight Sunrise on the Reaping. I keep wanting to say The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, but that was the book prior to this. So I bought a book light. I will start reading, I promise. I also bought Wuthering Heights, the book. I actually I started reading like 9 pages of it, and it was the most confusing book I've ever had read in my entire life. So I might have to like spark notes it, but I want to read it before the movie comes out. Emerald Fennell is directing it, and I love her. She directed Saltburn, so that comes out Valentine's Day. But anyway, Sunrise on the Reaping will be my book of choice for the time going forward. So that's my book. And ending on upcoming things I'm excited for. I'm excited to see Begonia, which is a Yorgos Land. I don't know how to say his name. Begonia, Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, and then Die My Love. I'm for sure seeing Die My Love this Friday. That is Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. I am so excited for this movie. People were saying it's bad or like it didn't perform well. I don't care. I just want to watch them on the big screen. So I am seeing that this Friday. In terms of TV, I nothing upcoming new that isn't Stranger Things season 5. I after Yellow Jackets, I might watch like an American Horror Story season, like rewatch those. And music, nothing that's coming out that I'm super excited for. Bless Up to Me. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. I have so much fun just talking to myself about all of the things